In Dynamics 365 Customer Insights, segments determine who receives your messages. They're one of the ways that connect customer data to the journeys you build, so how you define a segment directly affects whether people receive the right communication. When you create a segment in Customer Insights journeys, you start by selecting your target audience of contacts or leads. In this builder, you can work directly with the attributes from your contact and lead tables using fields such as job title, city, lead source, or any custom fields. Segments aren't restricted to a single table or demographic data, so you can also access related entities to pull in attributes elsewhere in your system. In this example, we're building a lead segment using filter rules across related contact and account tables. To do this, you search for each attribute that you want, then define the relationship path, which could also include selecting fields from a custom table. Defining these paths with shared attributes is where people can often get stuck when building segments, so we do recommend checking these definitions carefully. It's important to note that calculated and formula fields aren't supported in the Journey Segment Builder. If you're familiar with the marketing list functionality in Dynamics, you'll find that segments offer significantly more control and flexibility to define audiences. Firstly, within each segment structure, you can include multiple selection rules that are joined by connectors. Using the OR connector adds members to the segment who meet either of these two rules. Changing this to the AND connector means people will be added to the segment only when both requirements are met. Configuring each attribute rule is another important step. For example, we can choose between contains and is. For predefined or definitive values such as yes or no options, is becomes the logical choice. Other attributes, such as job title, are typically free text fields, so choosing is probably too restrictive and might exclude people. There are other options for creating these rules, such as does not contain and ends in. These segment groupings can also be connected with others to apply more complex rules or use a different type of group. The first group here is attribute-based for querying Dataverse, but we'll now bring in a behavioural group that uses email engagement data tracked by Dynamics. This is a crucial difference compared to setups where a marketing platform is detached from CRM, which adds complexity when building segments that need to combine relational and behavioural data. Because Dynamics stores all of this data in one place, you can very quickly build highly targeted audiences. Here you can use the OR connector as well as AND also to link groups, which requires each record to meet the criteria of both connected groups. In this example, we'll select AND also, so contacts will only be added to this segment when they meet both group rules. That means they're premium members and they've showed interest by clicking a specific email. A further tactic for refining segment rules is to use the but not connector between groups, which excludes records that match the connected group's criteria. For this variation, the initial attribute group targets premium members. However, for this audience, we only want to target new members, so the but not connector is used with a second attribute group that will exclude any members created more than 6 months ago, even if they have premium status. Together, these connectors give you precise control over audience composition. You can add people based on one rule and exclude them on another, all within a single segment. Achieving this level of refinement in other platforms typically requires multiple lists, complex queries, or involvement from outside the marketing team. How you order each group is important to apply the correct logic. Within the builder, you can move groups up or down, but only one position at a time, so faster reordering is certainly something we'd like to see in the application. Another improvement on our wishlist is the ability to copy and paste existing segment groups, which would also save time. Before publishing a segment, you can preview the estimated member count to validate your logic, which is a useful check for catching errors early. If the count looks too high or too low, you can adjust this before applying it to a journey. For more complex segments involving numerous behavioural conditions, multiple groups and related tables, we find that this preview doesn't always return a result. In these instances, you would need to publish the segment to see the total membership count. To fine-tune a segment, you can also manually select up to 100 contacts or leads within your Dynamics 365 system. When you're ready to publish a segment, there are two refresh modes. Automatic refresh means the segment continuously evaluates your rules, so as records update, people are added or removed. A static snapshot locks the segment at the time of publishing, so any subsequent changes to records that were initially matched won't affect who's on the list. An example of where the static option is useful might be an end-of-quarter promotion where you want to reward customers who were in a certain tier at that point in time, but you don't want this segment to change as records update during the course of the campaign. If you still need to use spreadsheets to finalize your audiences, you can bring that work into Customer Insights by uploading a CSV file, which can create a segment for up to 2 million records. This might be useful for speeding up the process when adding records collected from events or other campaigns. Dynamics matches these uploads using the email address, so each record must already exist as a contact or lead in your environment. What previously required a lengthy manual import process with multiple fields to map and the risk of errors can now be completed in a few seconds. Once the segment is published, it can be used as the entry audience for a journey, which allows up to 15 segments to be selected for a single journey. You can also use segment membership as a barrier to entry. For this example, the journey targets 2 segments, but we've also included a rule to exclude any contacts in our VIP segment because the messaging in this journey isn't suitable for that audience. This rule acts as a safeguard, ensuring that if any VIP customers are picked up by the 2 segments selected, the exclusion rule will prevent them from entering this journey. Traditionally, applying this kind of audience exclusion either required technical assistance to query against multiple lists or wasn't technically possible depending on your platform. Having this control directly within the Journey Builder means you can handle advanced audience management rules without relying on workarounds or outside support. Within a journey structure, segments can also serve as exit conditions that prevent specific audiences from receiving communications even if they met the original entry rules. In this example, we want to hook out any contacts from a journey who've already redeemed an offer. We have a dedicated segment that checks these actions in real time, so we can use it as an exit rule. As soon as somebody does redeem their offer, this tracked action in Dynamics will remove them from the journey, preventing the follow-up reminder from being sent. One thing worth building in is a periodic review of active segments, particularly any used as exit or exclusion conditions in live journeys. An outdated or deactivated segment in one of these roles could easily have an unintended effect on who receives your communications in ways that aren't immediately apparent. You can also build segment wait conditions into journeys that pause until a lead or contact becomes a member of a specified segment and then move them to the next step. So far, we focused on segmentation inside Customer Insights journeys. Next, we'll move into Customer Insights data, where audiences are built from unified customer profiles. If you're finding this video useful, please give it a like and subscribe for more content like this. The data application of Customer Insights is the customer data platform within Dynamics 365 that brings in data from multiple sources such as CRM, websites, transactions, third-party systems, and unifies it into a single customer profile. While Journeys segments work with your Dataverse tables, Customer Insights data segments operate on unified profiles. This is important because it means that you can use a broader set of attributes depending on how many external data sources are connected and mapped to individual profiles. The segment builder in Data uses a different rules-based approach compared to the Journeys application, drawing on attributes from any connected data source. Multiple rules can be combined using set operators. Union combines 2 groups, intersect retains only records common to both, and except keeps records from the first group that don't appear in the second. The concept is similar to group connectors in journeys, but these can be applied across broader datasets. In this example, we've connected two groups. One is querying Dataverse and the other uses a separate insurance provider dataset. Data segments can be static or dynamic, with configurable refresh schedules. You can also view additional data columns for each segment member, such as purchase dates or product categories, so the exported output contains more than just a list of names. Within Customer Insights data, you can set customer measures for calculations such as total spend, average order value, or visit frequency, which can then be used directly as segment criteria. For example, you could segment customers whose total spend over the last 12 months exceeds a threshold, or if their visit frequency places them in a specific tier. The data module in Customer Insights includes several AI-powered segmentation features. At the time of recording, these are at varying stages of availability. For example, this display lets you visualize the overlaps between similar segments, which can be useful for understanding audience composition before targeting people. In this instance, the intersecting segments reveal the number of people aged 40 or over who have car insurance but not life insurance. Other AI capabilities include suggested segments that analyze your measures and customer activities to recommend audience groups that you might not have considered. Suggestions might be made on multiple measures, such as activities, and on recency, frequency, and spend patterns. Find Similar Customers uses machine learning to identify profiles with attributes like those of an existing segment, offering alternative ways to expand an existing audience without manually having to define additional criteria. Customer Insights data segments can be exported to external platforms like LinkedIn Ads, Google Ads, and others, giving you the ability to apply unified profile intelligence to paid media targeting. You can also download segment members into a CSV file for offline analysis. To protect system performance, any segments that haven't been used for 45 days are automatically deactivated. When both Customer Insights applications are installed in the same environment, segments from data appear in the Journeys audience picker. Here we've selected a data segment as an entry audience. However, only contacts that are already present in Journeys with matching IDs will be included. That's because the data application won't automatically create any new contact records in Dataverse. Once you have this connection between profiles and contacts, you can build segments directly in Journeys that reference unified profile attributes and customer measures from Customer Insights data. That means you can blend CRM with unified profile data and calculated measures from the data application without leaving the Journeys segment builder. For example, a single segment could combine a contact's location, their membership status from a unified profile, and a calculated spend measure. Microsoft is also developing the ability for behavioural data from Journeys, including email opens, link clicks, and submitted forms, to flow back into Customer Insights data as part of the unified profile. At the time of recording, this feature is in public preview. Segments in Customer Insights Journeys give marketing teams precise control over who receives their messages using CRM attributes, related data, and interaction history. In the data application, you can use segments that draw on broader data sets across the business, enabling audience targeting, revealing insights that wouldn't be possible with Dataverse alone. Together, these create a connected segmentation capability where the depth of your customer data directly translates into the precision of your targeting. Whether you're considering Customer Insights or looking to get more from your existing deployment, services can help you configure segments, Journeys, and the wider platform to fit your operations. If you found this video useful, please give it a like and subscribe to the Services channel for further updates about Dynamics and the Microsoft platform.